Looking at the ocean, we see it expanding with life. From small creatures to big, the ocean is home to numerous creatures. While many know the creatures of the ocean, many physical characteristics of the ocean are often forgotten. In particular, many people may know the ocean is salty, but do not grasp why this is. To understand this, we must first understand what water is. While water is just 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, there's in fact much more to this. Water is a polar molecule, meaning that the oxygen is negatively charged and the hydrogens are positively charged. This creates attraction between water molecules and other molecules. For example, sodium is a positive molecule. When added to water, the negatively charged oxygen is attracted and bonds together with the sodium. This is the fundamentals of how salt is added to water. Within the ocean, there's numerous different salts made from water bonding with other molecules. The most common are sodium and chloride. This makes up 85% of the salts in the sea. There's numerous other forms of salt in the ocean like sulfate, magnesium, calcium, and more. Today, we are able to understand the proportions of salt due to the law of constant proportions. The law of constant proportions was created by John Forchhammer in 1865 and is as follows. The major constituents of seawater occur in the same relative concentration throughout the ocean. This means in every ocean basin, concentration might differ, but the proportions of salts in the water stay the same. To verify Forchhammer's proposed hypothesis at the time, William Dittmar analyzed 77 seawater samples from the HMS Challenger's voyage in 1884 to prove the hypothesis true at the time. From both these gentlemen's work, a hypothesis then has become the law of constant proportions now. Today, the law of constant proportion is mostly used to understand the salinity of water. There is 2 common ways today to tell the salinity of water. First, in 1902, the Newton titration method was created. This method used the variation in the amount of chloride in a sample, then applies the law of constant proportions to figure the total salinity of the sample. There is 2 common ways today to tell the salinity of water. First, in 1902, the Newton titration method was created. This method used the variation in the amount of chloride in a sample, then applies the law of constant proportions to figure the total salinity of the sample. This became the first standardized method to test for salinity concentration. Today, a new instrument called conductivity, temperature, and depth, CTD for short, is used. This instrument uses the conductivity of seawater to calculate the salinity of water. Methods today could not have been achieved without the founding of the law of constant proportions. This became a backbone for understanding the salts of the sea, and has allowed us to grasp and create efficient ways to test for salinity. So while you look at all of the sea life in the ocean, remember that there's a whole lot more going on with the ocean that you don't see.